Hey, what's up everyone? Name is Andrew Peel. This is my 2018 first Phorm $50,000 athlete search submission. So let's just jump right into it. What brought me to first Phorm, or how did I ever find out about first Phorm? It all stemmed back to the MFCEO project. I had a personal training client a couple years back that him and I didn't really talk too much. It was just pure business. He'd show up, I'd tell him what to do. Give him some reps, give him some time frames, things of that nature. He'd bust out the work, grind away, fist bump or something at the end, and both move on in our days. And that was about the gist of it. Well, of course, as most of you know, fitness starts opening up friendships and just communication between people that can be complete strangers. And sure enough, we start talking, we find out we've got very similar interests. Very similar mindsets on everything. And he introduced me to Andy and the MFCEO project, and right away I was hooked. My brother and I, who's also doing this athlete search contest, because we're both very competitive, so we both had to dive in and do it. It can't just be one of us, because then there's no clear-cut winner. But anyways, introduced me to Andy and the MFCEO project, and right away I was hooked. He came from an entrepreneurial family, had that hard work ethic instilled in him upon a young age, and just talks about like being able to start hustling and working hard from a very young age and getting that good strong work ethic and backbone to what helped build him into what he is now. And that's how my brother and I both grew up. We had a family grocery store with my grandparents and a family oil change center with my parents. So we were always busy, didn't have your standard childhood where you just do whatever you want, play, have fun all the time. No, we had business, we had family to help out, we had employees getting fired, employees not showing up, employees having sick days, things of that nature. So my brother Barry and I, we would jump in, fill in. I remember being 9 years old and helping out under the hood of a car with my dad at his oil change center. So strong work ethic, right from the get-go as a child. It's helped build me into the character that I am today. I feel like I still kind of try to not only do that myself, but now I'm looking more in the leadership figure where I'm trying to bestow that upon others that might not even have direct relations to me. So I might interact with an athlete in the gym someday and I see that he's got more in him or something. I might just go up and say, like, hey, you need a spot? Just kind of like a little nudge, like, hey, you need to bump it up and wait. All right. So that's just kind of the mentality I have and what I carry over into everything I do. I don't want to see people taking it easy on themselves or taking a rep off or taking a day off or letting something slide under the rug. That's just not the mentality I have, and that's kind of why I think I directly relate and am inspired by the first Phorm family and the brand itself as a whole. That's kind of the backbone of them, is just no half-ass people, no sweeping anything under the rug. It's all up front. You face everything head on. You don't sweep anything under. You just tackle it right from the get-go. And also on top of that, the first Phorm family is very into giving back and charity and just doing good, being good human beings is what I like to tell people. They are all about that and is exactly what I am all about. I actually just opened up a gym about 7 months ago, still fresh in the bare bones of everything with the gym. And right away I told everyone that was involved in the gym with me is charity is going to be our number one priority. The gym is great and all, but that's just the stepping stone to being able to build into the big name that I want, RSP, the gym, Rock Solid Performance. That's just pure stepping stones to get us to that ultimate goal of being a big brand name company that people recognize as a giving and charitable organization. So fitness and health is all fine and great. It's good for longevity, but mental health, mental strength, just doing good deeds for people is what I'm into, what my brother's into, what my community, my my gym crew. It's what we're into, and we're just trying to keep bestowing that upon everyone else in the community, and that's kind of what we stand for, and I know that's what First Phorm stands for, and I don't feel like I'm not only a great fit for First Phorm, but I just feel like it's destined. Like, even if it's not this year, I feel like I am destined to be a part of this family just because of such similar mindset and background that they have and what they've helped carry me over into my new gym and endeavor. So, sorry, I got my little cheat board here to make sure I don't get too off topic. Why do I want to be a First Phorm athlete? Well, kind of goes into all that as well. I feel like I'm very passionate and driven about helping others, and I know that's the backbone of First Phorm, the family and the athletes. So I feel like being a First Phorm athlete is just going to help take me up to that next level, just because I know that those are top tier guys, those are top people in the industry. They're not necessarily the biggest, fastest, and strongest man or woman all the time, but they're hard-nosed people. They're not going to be outworked in the gym or outworked on the field, and that's me to a T. I've been undersized my whole life. I'm about 5'7.5", 5'8". I played offensive line in high school. Started all 4 years at left guard or left tackle with my last 2 years. So being 5'7", 5'8" as an offensive lineman, that's a big endeavor in its own right there. So I've always dealt with being doubted and undersized, so I just made it a point to never be outworked and to always stick to my guns and doing good for people. So it was never the cheap way out or trying to find a loophole to get out of things. It was always just hard work and grinding away. So that's why I think that I should be a First Phorm athlete. And then we'll jump into, so what makes me unique? Well, first off, I'm a huge nerd. I love old school cartoons like Pokemon, Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that sort of thing. Thundercats, can't forget them. So that's kind of what, I feel like there's not enough nerdy guys or nerdy ladies in the fitness industry anymore. If there are, they try to stay shy away from it. But I know being First Phorm, there's no shyness, it's all up front. So, nerdy athlete, that makes me a little unique. Another unique quality that people tell me, it's not something I necessarily think of as myself, but I apparently bestow a lot of confidence and comfort in a lot of people, so people tend to tell me a lot of deep things that they don't necessarily open up about to their family or friends necessarily. I don't know what does it exactly. I don't try to necessarily do that and get gossip or get details out of people. It's just I care, I guess, is the biggest thing. Is when someone's talking to me, I want to make sure that they know I'm listening, I'm there for them. I give them feedback. I open up about myself, about stuff that's hard in my life, and in return they're willing to do the same, and it's a mutual conversation then, so we can both kind of help each other out, help each other move forward with our problems and in life in general. So just in the 7 months I've been here, I've created numerous relationships of people that I never really knew that well in the community, and a lot of tears have been shed between me and some of these new friendships that I've created in just such a short period of time. I feel like some of them are lifelong friends. One woman that did a contest in the beginning of my gym earned the entire 2018 gym membership completely free. So one of the things I want to do to show my support of the community is I'm going to give someone just a free ride for as much as possible. They just had to submit something to show them that they were worthy of it and that they were going to take full advantage of it. And I'm glad I chose the woman that I did. Deb, I'm going to give you a shout out in this video. Her and I have created a lifelong relationship, I think, and had I not opened the gym, or had I not had the strength and willpower to take this leap of faith of opening the gym due to listening to the MFCEO project, her and I may have never really crossed paths too much, and now she's on a journey of longevity and health, and it could never have been done without Andy or the First Phorm community. So that's one thing that I definitely relates back to being unique is I'm able to relate to a lot of people and be able to open up to them, and vice versa, they can open up to me. So what got me into fitness? My older brother, him and I are, like I said, we're very competitive. We're both doing this competition together. One of us is going to get this position at some point in time. We can feel it. We're both destined to be a part of this first Phorm family. Just a matter of when it's going to be. So he got me into fitness when I was in junior high. He'd take me up to the weight room, show me some things, and then in the back of my mind I kept thinking, yeah bro, I'm coming. Eventually, yeah, you're showing me how to do this, but I'm going to be better. So he was my first stepping stone into getting into the fitness industry. And he's kind of been my backbone ever since. He's my right-hand man here at the gym. He helps me whenever I get pinched by trying to help out too many clients at once, or I've got a conflict in schedule and need some help or need to meet someone at the gym. He's just always kind of been there, and he was there from the get-go of getting me into fitness. So it's just kind of a fun journey that we've gotten to experience together over the course of our lives that most brothers not necessarily get to. So $50,000, what am I going to do with it? All right, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm in the situation that $50,000 is a life-changing amount for me. When I opened this gym up, it was with like everything that we had saved back, my wife and I. Like I said, it was a pure leap of faith, and it's working out for us. We're doing great. We're influencing the community, making a big impact on people. But that $50,000, I'm just going to be up front and tell you, we're going to pay off some debt that we've got just because it's going to make things way more comfortable for myself and my family. And then the rest of the money, I'm going to invest it back into the gym, the community. Like I said, giving back, that's a big value of mine. So I'm going to help my family out first because like Andy always preaches, you can't help others if you can't help yourself. So money's big in life. You got to have it. You don't need to lie and say that you don't care about money. I care about money. Money's going to help my family out. It's going to help secure our lives. So I'm going to help take care of my family first, and then I'm definitely giving everything back to the community in some way, shape, or form. So I'm not going to have any bullshit. I'm going to help with my debt first, and then it's all coming back to the gym and community for sure. Struggles in life. So like I mentioned before, I was undersized in football, always got doubted, still always happens. My brother and I played semi-pro football together. I was undersized there, played against guys from the collegiate level of Wisconsin, Iowa, Ohio State, Bowling Green, LSU, Michigan State. So guys of that caliber, so some high-end guys. Well, I ended up making the all-star team that year, my rookie year, and was the defensive player of the year for my team, who went, I think, 11-1. The only team we lost to was a team that ended up winning the semi-pro national championship. So we were a top-notch team. I was undersized, doubted, still ended up making defensive player of the year as a rookie, or defensive rookie player of the year, and made the all-star team. Same thing in high school. I broke my Tommy Johns. Had to play with my one arm all wrapped up and whatnot at 5'7", 200 pounds. Ended up making the All-Star game for my conference that year as well. Then I went to college for respiratory therapy because everyone talked me out of going for education, so I went with the other route. Went into the medical field because I wanted to help people. College, almost failed out. Did very terrible my first semester, so I looked up personal training, got certified for that, and luckily I did because that's now turned into the gym life that I have. But I almost failed out of college, but instead of worrying about failing out of college and having nothing to do, I pursued my certification in personal training, ended up passing that semester anyways, finished through, became a registered respiratory therapist, worked in the hospital for a few years. Couldn't handle the politics of the medical field, just ate me to my core. I was working third shift, 12 hours, and my wife was working days. Conflict in schedules, creating some havoc within our relationship. Just wasn't worth it. Wasn't something I was passionate about, wanted to do in the first place. So took a leap of faith, jumped out of that, went back to school for education to be an early childhood teacher. And then in the midst of that, as I'm working a warehouse job, making a a major pay cut from what I was in the medical field, going back to school, and then we get pregnant with or my wife gets pregnant with our firstborn, and she ends up dealing with some major complications, some severe preeclampsia, and it was like 2 a.m. in the morning. She wakes up with severe pain after being on bed rest for a week, gets to the hospital, and they tell us they got to care flight her about an hour and a half away, which is only about a 20-minute in the care flight, but an hour and a half drive time for me. It's 2 a.m. Nurse kind of pulls me aside and says, just be ready. You might be faced with a difficult decision related to either your wife or newborn. So just be prepared for making a tough decision, sir. Or she didn't say sir, she called me Andrew. She was being sympathetic. But that right there was probably one of the toughest things I ever dealt with. Even though my wife and son both came out A-okay after 15 days of staying in the NICU, of course, because he was about 6.5 weeks early. Everything turned out fine. It wasn't as dire as what it sounded originally. I mean, it was still bad, but mentally that really played with me, put me into a depression. I started seeking some medical attention about trying to figure out if I was actually dealing with depression issues or if I was dealing with low testosterone because my hormones are out of whack, or I was in a pretty rough state. My wife could see it. My in-laws were saying that I just didn't seem my normal self. I was always tired. Everything carried me down. Just a rough time in my life. Then I ended up winning a free entry into a half marathon. Which is way out of my wheelhouse because I had severe asthma growing up. Couldn't even run a mile in high school. But I said, you know what? I'm going to tackle this. I've seen a newborn fight for his life. I've seen the willpower that someone just coming into the world has, and that's all they know is to fight. So I can do this. Ended up succeeding and actually carried me out of my depression state. That was around the same time that I started listening to the MFCEO project, which was also helping. Also made me start thinking while I was running for 10 to 12 miles in the morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I started thinking about long-term goals. Life's too short. Why am I wasting my time just worrying about necessarily being a teacher when I've always wanted to be a gym owner as well and be able to give back to the community, a community that's never had a gym or fitness center of any sort. So I dove in, no money. Wife and I threw anything that we had in savings into this, ended up finding the right business partner, which is also the guy that introduced me to the MFCEO project. Ironically enough, he became a business partner with me, helped me be able to start this gym, this atmosphere, this culture that we're building in the community, and just kind of dove in head first, and it's been phenomenal ever since. And all that stemmed back from being in a potential lifelong depression because of a bad moment in our life. And that kind of led to my mantra that I use with the gym, no bad days. So I always preach that there's going to be bad moments, but I make sure that people know that don't let that be a bad day. And that's the mantra that we stick by at the RSP gym. And that's something I carry into my life, and it was all stemming back from that situation in life that had me in a funk. So that was hands down the biggest struggle that I ever encountered. But so now I have a second child, and they're both healthy, both my sons. My wife is in her dream job as a corporate accountant, and she's slowly moving up in the chain of command there at a young age, which is awesome. I'm almost finished with school, so I will be an elementary teacher before long. I've got just a matter of weeks left ahead of me. We had our first charity at the gym and raised $6,500 to an amazing local family here that had a daughter that was born with some illnesses and some health issues at birth, and so they have continued medical expenses over the course of her life to this point. But it was awesome. We had an awesome atmosphere here. We blocked off the entire street by the gym just phenomenal atmosphere and support from all the surrounding gym communities. And we were having people from gyms that have been in business for years asking me like how we were able to get a function of this sort to turn into fruition like it did. Excuse the tongue sore there. But it was awesome. Able to raise $6,500. My goal was to be able to hand this family a $500,000 check, and we raised $6,500, which was phenomenal. Couldn't ask for better support. And now we are, and my gym is doing phenomenal. My goal was to have 65, 70 members by the end of the year. I'm now reaching 150, and then that's not even including my personal training clients. I'm now taking care of 3 conditioning programs for a volleyball, ladies basketball, and varsity men's baseball team here in the community. So we're booming, we're making a positive impact, and just continuing to spread the good word of family, doing good, giving back, having no bad days, and just being a positive influence in the community. And that's why I just feel like I am destined to be with First Phorm. Like I said, if it doesn't happen now, it's no big deal. I'm not gonna let it be a bad day for me when I find out if I'm not chosen, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop trying. I'm gonna keep plugging away, because like I said, this is one of my big goals, is I'm gonna be a part of this family. I'm gonna be going to all these different events and doing all these charities with the entire First Phorm family. I can feel it deep down in my core. And my brother and I both, I have the confidence that he's gonna be doing it with me. Whichever one of us gets to do it first is awesome. I hope it's me, because I don't want him to beat me. But if it is him, I'm still gonna support him. And I just can't wait for this journey to begin, regardless of when it happens. Just excited for the opportunity, and also use this opportunity just to say thank you to the entire First Phorm family for being an awesome influence, and just keep doing good, and no bad days, baby.